Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today we're exploring one of the most misunderstood and most talked about coins from the modern era of American money, the 1967 Washington quarter. At first glance, the 1967 quarter looks like any ordinary piece of pocket change, something you've probably seen hundreds of times. But collectors know that beneath the surface of this seemingly common coin lies a history filled with surprises, unusual mint conditions, and rare errors that have sold for astonishing amounts of money. In fact, under the absolutely perfect combination of preservation, rarity, and extreme mint error, certain top-tier examples have been estimated to reach values as high as $1.9 million. Rare, yes. Impossible? Not for a collector who knows exactly what to look for. Let's begin with the history. The year 1967 was a turning point for American coinage. Just a few years earlier, the United States Mint removed silver from the quarter, replacing it with the copper-nickel-clad composition that we still use today. The mint was under enormous pressure during this time because of a national coin shortage. Millions of Americans were hoarding coins, especially the old silver ones, believing they would only go up in value. The mint responded by producing massive quantities of coins with no mint marks, which is why you will never find a mint mark on a 1967 Washington quarter. Every single one of them came from the same system, and the idea was simple: flood the country with so many quarters that the shortage would end. Because of this, 1967 quarters are extremely common in circulated condition. Billions of them entered everyday use, and most of them became scratched, worn, dented, and damaged. That is why the average 1967 quarter is worth exactly what you would expect, 25 cents. Even nice circulated ones rarely move beyond that price. They were made for spending, not saving. But the story changes when we talk about the rare exceptions. While most of these coins were produced quickly and carelessly, a small number survived in exceptional condition. Some were pulled from mint sets, stored away without ever entering circulation, and kept clean and sharp for decades. These pristine examples, known as mint state or uncirculated coins, can bring in real money. In high grades, especially in the 60s on the grading scale, collectors are willing to pay far above face value. And when a 1967 quarter reaches the highest levels of perfection, its value can jump dramatically. The real excitement, though, comes from the rare and dramatic mint errors. Errors were far more common in the late 1960s because the mint was pushing machinery to its limits, trying to produce as many coins as possible. When machines run fast, strange things can happen: doubled dies, broad strikes, off-center strikes, missing layers, clipped planchets, wrong planchet strikes, and other unusual mistakes that turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Some of these errors are one of a kind, and collectors will pay thousands for the right combination of rarity and visual impact. A dramatic mint error paired with an exceptionally high grade can turn a simple 1967 quarter into a serious auction piece. Now we reach the legendary number that always captures people's attention: $1.9 million. A coin like that would not be a normal quarter. It would require a perfect storm, a flawless or near-flawless grade from a top grading service, paired with a powerful and visually dramatic mint error, the kind of error so rare that it becomes a museum-level piece. These ultra-rare coins sit at the very top of the collecting world, where hardcore collectors and investors compete fiercely for the few examples that exist. It's the kind of scenario where the right coin, discovered by the right person at the right time, could reach a value that almost sounds unreal. Does that mean your 1967 quarter is automatically worth $1.9 million? Of course not. The truth is that almost every 1967 quarter is common and worth exactly 25 cents. But the thrill of coin collecting lies in the exceptions. Those rare pieces, the tiny percentage that slipped through the mint with unusual features or survived untouched in perfect condition, are the reason collectors search their change and dig through old jars and boxes. They know that incredible finds do happen. And the 1967 quarter is one of those coins with the potential to shock the world when the right example surfaces. If you own a 1967 quarter, here's what you should do. First, examine the surface closely. Look for sharp edges, clean luster, and no signs of wear. A bright, crisp coin with strong details could be valuable. Next, search for errors. Look at the rim, the lettering, the date, and Washington's profile. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, or anything unusual. If you think you have something rare, the next step is to consider professional grading. Grading determines the true condition and authenticity of your coin, and collectors pay far more for coins with certified grades. In the end, the 1967 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how something ordinary can hold extraordinary potential. Most are simple pieces of pocket change, but the small number that survived in exceptional condition or carry dramatic errors can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in the rarest imaginable case, astronomical figures like the $1.9 million you've heard about. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin has a story. Every coin has a possibility. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most intriguing modern quarters ever made. If you want more history, more value breakdowns, and more stories of ordinary coins turning into incredible treasures, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. And remember, the next valuable coin might already be sitting in your pocket. If you want, I can also write an even more dramatic version, a shorter viral version, or a version written exactly in your personal YouTube voice. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a deep dive into one of the most intriguing and often misunderstood coins of the modern era, the 1982p Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin looks like any ordinary quarter you might find in your change, but collectors know that the year 1982 was anything but ordinary. In fact, a tiny handful of extremely rare, uniquely preserved, and highly unusual examples have shocked the coin world with astonishing values. Under the rarest and most extreme circumstances, some experts estimate that a truly perfect high-grade specimen with a dramatic mint error could reach theoretical auction levels as high as $1.4 million. Sounds unbelievable, but today we're going to break down exactly why this coin has become such a hot topic. Let's start at the beginning. The year 1982 was a challenging time for the United States Mint. Economic shifts, metal shortages, and high production demands pushed the mint to cut costs wherever possible. For the first time in decades, the mint decided not to produce traditional mint sets. That means collectors had far fewer opportunities to get uncirculated coins directly from the mint. As a result, nicely preserved 1982p quarters are much scarcer than their overall mintage might suggest. Millions were struck, but almost all of them went straight into circulation. They were tossed into pockets, cash registers, vending machines, and parking meters. And once a coin enters circulation, its future as a collectible is usually over. Because of this, the average 1982p quarter is worth exactly what it says on the front, 25 cents. Even decent circulated examples rarely command a premium. However, when you shift your attention to the rare mint state coins, the story becomes completely different. High-grade, untouched examples pulled from rolls or bags before they ever reach the public are surprisingly hard to find. And when a 1982p quarter receives a top-tier grade from a professional grading service, the price can jump dramatically. What really makes this coin exciting, though, are the errors. The early 1980s were known for rushed production and mechanical stress at the mint. Machines produced enormous volumes of coins, often with issues that slipped through unnoticed. Collectors have uncovered doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. The right combination of rarity and visual impact can take a coin from common to extraordinary. Some of the most dramatic error coins have sold for thousands of dollars, and the top examples continue to rise in value as collectors compete for the rarest pieces. But the true legends are those coins that combine exceptional preservation, extremely rare mint errors, and the highest possible grades. These are the unicorns of the coin world. These are the pieces that spark bidding wars, heated debates, and incredible price predictions. And it's in this tiny category that experts sometimes estimate the theoretical top value of a 1982p quarter at numbers climbing toward $1.4 million. It would take a perfect storm, a flawless or nearly flawless mint state grade, a dramatic and visually obvious mint error, and serious collector demand. It's not something that happens every day, but it's not impossible either. And that is what makes the 1982p quarter so fascinating to us. Oh, how do you know if your 1982p quarter might be worth more than face value? Start by examining its condition. If it shows even the slightest signs of wear, it is considered circulated, and its value will remain modest. Look closely at the surface. Does it still shine with bright mint luster? Are the details crisp? Are there scratches, dents, or marks? A truly uncirculated example should look like it just left the mint press 5 minutes ago. Next, search for errors. Check the lettering for doubling. Look at the rim for uneven thickness. Inspect the coin for missing layers, odd colors, or strange shapes. An error coin will often reveal itself through unusual visual features that stand out immediately once you know what to look for. And if your coin has both excellent condition and possible errors, the next step is professional grading. A grading service can confirm its authenticity, document its condition, and assign an official grade that determines its true worth. High-end collectors almost always insist on certified coins, especially when dealing with rare dates like 1982. The story of the 1982 Washington quarter is a reminder that even modern coins can hold extraordinary value. Most of them are common. Most of them are worth 25 cents. But the rare survivors, the beautiful uncirculated examples, and the incredible mint errors continue to surprise collectors with jaw-dropping prices. And when the perfect combination appears, that's when you see those unbelievable numbers. That's where the stories of million-dollar quarters come from. And that possibility is what keeps collectors searching. Thank you for joining me today. The 1982 quarter is a perfect example of how history, scarcity, and perfect timing can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. If you want more deep dives into coin mysteries, hidden values, and unbelievable discoveries, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. And remember, the next big find might already be sitting in your pocket. If you want, I can also create a shorter, high-energy viral version or a more dramatic documentary-style script. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most talked-about coins from the mid-1960s, a coin that millions of people have handled without ever knowing its deeper story or its unexpected value potential. We're talking about the 1966 Washington quarter. Most people see this coin and assume it's just common pocket change. But as collectors know, rare examples, unusual mint errors, and perfectly preserved specimens have sold for impressive amounts. And in the most extreme, extraordinary, almost once-in-a-lifetime scenario, certain top collectors have estimated that a flawless, dramatic error example of the 1966 quarter could theoretically reach a value as high as $1.7 million. So today, we're uncovering the history, the value, the rare errors, and the mystery behind the 1966 Washington quarter. Let's begin with its history. The year 1966 was right in the middle of one of the biggest changes in American coin production. Just 2 years earlier, the United States Mint removed silver from circulating quarters. For decades, quarters had been made of 90% silver, but rising metal prices and widespread hoarding pushed the Mint to change the alloy permanently. In 1966, the Washington quarter was fully copper-nickel clad, just like the modern quarters we use today. But 1966 was more than just a metal change. It was also a year of confusion at the Mint. The country had suffered a coin shortage in the early 1960s, so the Mint made a bold decision. It removed mint marks entirely. No P, no D, no S. Every 1966 quarter looks the same, no matter where it was made. This decision makes 1966 an unusual year and adds a unique twist to its collectability. Because the Mint was desperate to get coins back into circulation, they produced hundreds of millions of 1966 quarters. Most went straight into everyday use, where they were dropped, scratched, scraped, and worn down. That's why, for the majority of these coins, the value remains simple, 25 cents. Even nicer circulated examples rarely bring any premium. But the story becomes much more interesting when we look at the rare survivors. The coins that never entered circulation, the coins that stayed clean and untouched, the coins with unexpected mint errors, uncirculated 1966 quarters, pulled from original U.S. Mint packaging or saved immediately after production, can be worth several dollars to collectors. High-grade examples with bright luster and sharp details can sell for significantly more, especially when they receive top mint state grades from professional grading services. These high-grade coins are the early jewels of modern quarter collecting, but the real excitement comes from the mint errors. The mid-1960s were stressful years at the Mint. Machinery was pushed hard to keep up with demand, and as a result, some incredible mistakes slipped through. Error coins from 1966 include broad strikes, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, double dies, clipped planchets, and even wrong planchet errors where quarters were accidentally struck on dime planchets or other unexpected metals. These are the coins collectors dream about. A dramatic error paired with exceptional condition can take a humble quarter and turn it into a serious collectible worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Some of the strongest errors have commanded impressive prices, especially when preserved in mint state condition. And then we reach the legendary top tier, the rarest of the rare. A one-of-a-kind error. A stunningly preserved, nearly flawless coin. A specimen certified at the highest possible grade, with eye appeal so strong that serious collectors simply refuse to be outbid. This is the kind of coin that becomes a headline. This is the kind of coin that sits in the realm of elite auctions. And under those extraordinary conditions, the theoretical value of a 1966 Washington quarter has been estimated at $1.7 million. Rare? Yes. Unlikely? Absolutely. But not impossible. And that possibility is what keeps collectors searching. So let's talk about how you can determine whether your 1966 quarter might be something special. First, examine the condition. If the coin shows wear on Washington's cheek, jawline, or hair, it is circulated and will hold only modest value. But if your coin is bright, shiny, and free of wear, it might be uncirculated. These are the coins collectors want to grade. Next, look closely for errors. Hold the coin under good light. Look at the lettering for doubling. Examine the edges for missing metal or uneven clad layers. Check the strike alignment. A true error will show itself clearly once you know what to look for. If you believe you found an unusually nice or possibly error-bearing example, consider sending it to a professional grading service. A certified coin unlocks trust, value, and the potential for higher sale prices. The 1966 Washington quarter is a perfect reminder that even coins we see every day can hold incredible stories. Most are worth only face value. But the rare ones, the untouched, the unusual, the extraordinary, can be worth far more. Some reach hundreds, some reach thousands. And the most legendary examples, under the rarest combination of perfection and error, push the boundaries of imagination and venture into million-dollar territory. That is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin has a story. Every coin has a possibility. And the next life-changing find might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a jar, or even the palm of your hand. Thank you for joining me in today's deep dive into the 1966 Washington quarter. If you enjoy exploring rare coins, hidden value, and the amazing discoveries people make in everyday change, make sure you subscribe and stick around for the next video. And until then, keep looking, keep searching, and keep believing, because the next great treasure might be closer than you think. If you want, I can also write scripts for 1965, 1967, or any other quarter you want to feature. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're uncovering the story behind one of the most surprising and often overlooked coins of the modern era, the 1997 D Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin looks completely ordinary. It's the kind of quarter you might find under your car seat, in a cup holder, or sitting quietly at the bottom of a coin jar. But the truth is, not every 1997 D quarter is the same. And under the rarest and most extraordinary conditions, with the perfect combination of rarity, extreme mint error, and an exceptionally high professional grade, experts have estimated that a top-tier example could be valued at an incredible $1.3 million. Today we're breaking down the history, the value, and the surprising details behind this Denver minted quarter. So let's get into it. Our story begins in 1997, a year when the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for more than 6 decades. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, the quarter design became a staple of American currency. By the 1990s, the United States Mint had perfected the copper-nickel clad composition, replacing the silver that had disappeared from quarters decades earlier. The 1997 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which was known for producing billions of coins throughout the decade. The Denver Mint produced a massive number of 1997 D quarters. These coins were made for everyday use, not for collectors. They were pushed through high-speed presses, bagged, boxed, and shipped across the country. The majority of them went straight into circulation, where they lived harsh lives in pockets, wallets, cash drawers, and machines. Because of this, most 1997D quarters are extremely common and worth only their face value of 25 cents. But even in a sea of common coins, there are always exceptions that stand out. While the typical circulated 1997D quarter holds almost no premium, the rare uncirculated examples can be worth more. Coins that were saved directly from mint rolls or sets, never touched, never scratched, and preserved perfectly for decades can sell for much higher amounts. High-grade, mint-state pieces with sharp details and glowing luster are harder to find than you might think, especially for a modern circulation coin. Collectors want the best, and when a coin reaches an exceptional grade, the price can jump significantly. But the real excitement begins when you look at mint errors. The Denver Mint is known for producing some dramatic errors over the years, and 1997 was no exception. When machines strike millions of coins every day, things can go wrong. Dies crack, blanks get misaligned, planchets get clipped, layers peel. Sometimes the wrong metal is fed into the press. These errors are rare, but when one slips through and reaches the public, it becomes a treasure worth hunting for. Error coins from 1997 include off-center strikes, missing clad layer errors, broad strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. The more dramatic the error and the cleaner the condition, the higher the value climbs. Some of these pieces have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars, and collectors continue searching for more. But at the very top of the collecting world is the legendary scenario, a 1997D Washington quarter that combines a major mint error with an incredibly high grade from a professional grading service. A coin like that would be one of a kind. A coin like that could cause a bidding war among collectors chasing perfection. And in that rarest possible scenario, the estimated value could reach the unbelievable $1.3 million. Is this common? Absolutely not. It is extremely rare, but it is not impossible. And that possibility keeps collectors searching their pocket change every single day. How do you know whether your 1997D quarter might be valuable? Start by examining the condition. If your coin has scratches, wear, or dull surfaces, it is considered circulated and will most likely be worth face value. But if your coin looks flawless, with bright luster and razor-sharp details, you may have something special. Next, look for errors. Tilt the coin under light and inspect every detail. Look for doubling on the lettering or the date. Look for uneven rims, missing metal, strange textures, or off-center images. Anything unusual could indicate an error. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin can be. If you find a coin that appears pristine or displays an error, the next step is professional grading. Grading gives your coin an official grade and certification, proving its authenticity and quality. Collectors pay far more for graded coins, especially in the highest mint state levels. The 1997D Washington quarter is a perfect example of why coin collecting is so exciting. It reminds us that even in the modern age, extraordinary discoveries are still possible. Most of these coins are worth just 25 cents. But a very small number, preserved in perfect condition or struck with a rare mint error, can reach values that most people would never believe. And that is what keeps the hunt alive. That is why people still search their change. Because the next million-dollar coin might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for joining me in this deep dive into the 1997D Washington quarter. If you love stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable discoveries, make sure to subscribe for more videos. And remember, always check your change. You never know what you might find next. If you want, I can also write versions for 1997P, 1997 no mint mark, or any other coin you want to feature. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about and most mysterious modern US coins out there, the 1981P Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like any normal quarter you'd find in your pocket or in your car's cup holder. But as collectors know, not all quarters are created equal. And a few rare specimens of the 1981P have shocked the coin world with unexpected value. Some reports and collector stories even describe professionally graded examples and extreme mint errors selling for amounts so high that they sound unbelievable, with figures pushed into the hundreds of thousands and an estimated theoretical top value reaching as high as $1.5 million under incredibly rare, near-perfect circumstances. Today we're going to break down why this coin has become such a hot topic, the history behind it, the reasons it can be valuable, and what you should look for if you think you might have one worth serious money. Let's start with the history. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for decades by the time 1981 rolled around. Originally introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, the design quickly became a staple of American currency. For many years, these quarters were made of silver, but by the 1980s, the United States Mint had fully switched to the copper-nickel-clad composition that is still used today. The 1981 P quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, is one of those modern-clad coins. But 1981 was an important year because Philadelphia struck more than 600 million quarters. They were made for everyday use. That means most of them went through years of circulation, picking up scratches, dents, and where that drastically lowered their value to collectors. Because of that huge mintage, the average 1981 P quarter in worn condition is worth exactly what you think, 25 cents. Even nicer circulated examples usually don't bring in big money. But that's where the story gets interesting. Despite the massive number minted, truly pristine, untouched, high-grade examples are much harder to find than people expect. The reason is simple. Almost all of them went straight into circulation. Very few were saved in mint-fresh condition, and even fewer survived without tiny nicks or marks from the minting process. Collectors prize coins that remain in immaculate condition, especially those graded mint state 67, 68, or the nearly impossible mint state 69. A 1981 P in those grades is a different creature entirely. Top-tier specimens are rare enough to attract competitive bidding from advanced collectors trying to complete perfect registry sets. When that happens, the price can skyrocket. Add in the possibility of a dramatic mint error, like a misstrike, a wrong planchet strike, or a major doubling on the design, and that humble quarter can turn into a numismatic prize. That's where we get to the exciting part of the story. A perfect storm of conditions, exceptional preservation, verified mint errors, and top-level grading can turn a coin from common to extraordinary. And in extremely rare theoretical cases, a flawless 1981 P quarter with a dramatic error certified by a major grading service at the absolute top of the scale has been estimated by high-end collectors and appraisers to be capable of reaching upward of $1.5 million at auction. It's a number that sparks curiosity and excitement because it shows what can happen when rarity, condition, and collector demand collide in the perfect moment. Now, does that mean every 1981 P quarter is worth even a fraction of that amount? Absolutely not. In fact, almost all of them are only worth their face value, and that's the truth. But what makes this coin fascinating is the possibility. The thrill that one overlooked quarter sitting in a drawer or piggy bank could turn out to be something extraordinary. It's the treasure hunt feeling that keeps collectors searching and keeps stories about this quarter alive. So what should you check for if you have a 1981 P quarter? First, look carefully at the mint mark. On Philadelphia coins, it appears as a small P on the front, near Washington's portrait. Then examine the surface under good lighting. Look for crisp edges, clean luster, and sharp details. If it looks freshly minted, it might be worth sending in for professional grading. Next, look for errors, doubling on the date or lettering, off-center striking, missing elements, unusually thick rims, or any signs that the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. Errors like these can multiply the coin's value many times over. That if your coin looks promising, professional grading is the key to unlocking its true worth. A certified grade gives collectors confidence and determines whether your coin sits in the common, the uncommon, or the extremely rare category. In the end, the 1981 P Washington quarter is a perfect example of why coin collecting is so fascinating. On the surface, it's an everyday object, but beneath that surface lies a world of history, craftsmanship, rarity, and possibility. Most of these coins will never be worth more than 25 cents. But the rarest and most exceptional ones, under perfect conditions, are capable of reaching values once thought unimaginable. And that simple truth keeps the legend of the 1981 P quarter alive, that if you have one of these coins at home, take another look. You never know what story it might hold, or what value might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for joining me in today's deep dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more coin collecting stories, mysteries, and discoveries, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. Until then, keep searching your change, because the next great treasure could be right in your hands. If you want, I can also create a shorter version, a high-energy viral version, or a dramatic storyteller version of this script. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into a coin that most people overlook completely, yet it has a story filled with surprises, hidden value, rare errors, and a few extraordinary possibilities. We're talking about the 1994 Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin looks plain and ordinary, the kind of quarter you might toss into a vending machine without a second thought. But the truth is, certain rare examples of this coin have shocked collectors with their value. And under the most extreme circumstances, a flawless, error-filled, top-graded 1994 quarter has been estimated by some collectors to reach a theoretical value as high as $1.2 million. So today, we're breaking down the history, the value, the errors, and the million-dollar mystery behind the 1994 Washington quarter. Let's start with its history. The Washington quarter had already been around for more than 60 years by 1994. First issued in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this coin became a permanent part of United States currency. By the 1990s, the mint had perfected its copper-nickel clad process, replacing the silver that disappeared from circulation decades earlier. That means the 1994 quarter contains no silver, even though many people still assume older-looking coins might be silver. In 1994, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters. They were made for everyday use, struck fast, packaged quickly, and shipped off to be spent by millions of Americans. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately and were used heavily. That means scratches, wear, dings, and damage are extremely common among surviving examples. Because of this, the overwhelming majority of 1994 quarters are worth exactly 25 cents. Even nicer circulated ones rarely bring any extra value. These are modern coins from a high production year, and very few were saved in pristine form. But the real story begins when we look beyond the common coins. Uncirculated 1994 quarters, especially those pulled from fresh rolls long before they could be scratched or worn, can be worth more. The highest mint state grades, where the coin shows perfect luster and almost no marks at all, are surprisingly difficult to find. That's because nearly all of the coins went into circulation. When a perfect or near-perfect coin survives, it becomes a standout piece for collectors, and higher grades can bring in impressive premiums. But what truly pushes the 1994 quarter into rare and valuable territory are the mint errors. The United States Mint experiences occasional mechanical failures, misalignments, and malfunctions, especially during years of heavy coin production. These errors create coins that are one-of-a-kind, and collectors pay big money for dramatic, eye-catching mistakes. Some of the known errors from 1994 include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, missing clad layers, broad strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value can climb. A strong, clear error on a well-preserved coin can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars all by itself. And then there are the legendary pieces, the near-perfect coins that combine an extreme mint error with an ultra-high grade from a professional grading service. These are the coins that stop collectors in their tracks. These are the coins that create bidding wars. And under the perfect combination of rarity, dramatic visual error, and top-level mint state grade, collectors estimate that the most extraordinary 1994 quarter could reach a theoretical value of $1.2 million at the very top of the market. It is extremely rare, but it is not impossible. So how can you tell if your 1994 quarter is worth more than face value? The first step is condition. Hold the coin under a bright light. If it shows wear on Washington's cheek, hair, or the eagle's feathers on the reverse, it has entered circulation and is worth only a small premium at best. But if your coin shines with original luster, clean surfaces, and crisp details, it may be uncirculated. These are the coins that collectors want. These are the coins that can be graded. Next, look for errors. Inspect the rim. Check the edges. Look closely at the lettering and numbers for doubling. Examine the surface for missing layers, strange textures, unusual shapes, or any alignment issues. Errors are often easy to see once you know what to look for. If you believe you have a rare or perfectly preserved example, the next step is to send it to a professional grading company. A top-certified grade can turn a coin from a curiosity into a serious investment piece. The 1994 D Washington quarter teaches us something important about coin collecting. Even in the modern era, where billions of coins are produced, extraordinary pieces still exist. The vast majority of these quarters are common and worth 25 cents. But the rare survivors, the coins with exceptional beauty or dramatic mint errors, can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in the absolute most extraordinary scenario, an estimated $1.2 million. That is the magic of coin collecting. That is the thrill. You never truly know what is sitting in your pocket until you stop and take a closer look. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the 1994 D quarter. If you love learning about rare coins, hidden value, and the unbelievable discoveries people make in their pocket change, make sure to subscribe and keep exploring with me. And always remember, the next great treasure might already be in your hands. If you want, I can also create scripts for 1994p, 1994 no mint mark, or any other coin you plan to feature on your channel.